Another Takamine 12 string. This one's kind of unique. It's got a kind of a plastic fiberglass bowl on the back. It's not as deep, and it's lined with wood inside, and there's no bracing across the bottom or anything like that. Not that it would need to because of the fiberglass, but I have not seen one like this before, and there's no tag or anything down inside, and nothing on the back of the headstock to tell me what model this is. Doesn't really matter. I have it in the shop for a purpose, and I've been asked to install a bridge doctor. There's not enough room really for the screw type, which honestly, the way this is set up to go with the undersaddle pickup and everything would probably be right about there in the center of those. There's just no room in there for the standard screw head, which requires, a 1/4 inch hole. I have taken these screws and turned them down to where they're smaller, so I can get away with a smaller hole and just a wood plug. I might be able to turn this down to 3/16, and I do have a 3/16 plug cutter, and we might try that. The other thing, though, is I have a couple types of bridge doctors here. I have the brass pin version, and what that does is the rear 6 pins come out, and these go in. There's screws on the bottom of most of them, but one in particular that would either have to be one of these two would actually, this is what screws into the block and allows the bridge doctor to go in. Now it's a little bit off center, but it could be easily reversed. There's no holes to be drilled or anything like that. It's a little bit more expensive and all this. The other problem, though, I'm running into, or at least I'm in theory, I haven't got that far yet, but let me get something to point with here. We don't have much of a fall away across the saddle. The saddle is pretty low. We can't go down any further. And the way this top is, as you can see with the bellying here, that we're going to try to correct with the bridge doctor. Alright, well, I've got one of the pins in place, and I do believe that the hole is low enough, but on the back side, see if I can get this angle and have it not be blurry. The hole is right there. Now the ball end of the string is going to ride up on top of that, and it's going to chew up the wood here and all that, so I don't think that's going to work. I don't want to alter this to the point, because this is, from what I'm gathering, this is somewhat rare. I don't want to shave down the bridge here to accommodate those string ends. I don't know what the value is on this, but the way the client talks about it, that there wasn't a lot of these made, and I've certainly not seen one that's white, and this is factory. This isn't a refinish or anything. If I do the little plug in here, and right now with the pins, if I was able to successfully do those, this is totally reversible. These can all come out, and the original pins can go right back in, and no harm, no foul. With the screw version method that goes down through here, I'd have to drill out that plug, back out the screw, take the block off and everything in order to get it reversed and replug and fix that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to the client a little bit, see what his opinion is, and whether he wants me to go for try to put the screw method in here. The other thing about the pin method is it's not in the center, and it may not be ideal for where this row of pins is, which would put the, I guess it'd be right there. So that would put the front part, this part here, right under the saddle, but there is more than likely an under saddle pickup of some sort. So I'm going to get the strings out of the way, and I'm going to look and evaluate what the bottom of this looks like. But anyway, that's the problem we're trying to tackle here. So stay tuned. Okay, already making some progress. When I got my light in there, I do notice that there is a stamping, Takamine ST212. So now I can research this particular guitar a little bit more and find out what I'm dealing with. And the other thing is, let me get my little trusty mirror here. And you can see a typical pickup in there, nice wide bridge plate. So on the particular model, I've decided I'm going to probably use the old wood screw or the screw method, and I'm probably going to go right in through here using I will turn the screw down. These are kind of cool because they have 3 different, for adjustability, and I just move this to the far out one, and it's going to land about like this. So yeah, I'm going to plant my tomato right through there, and it's a bit small, it's close in there, but I am going to turn the screw down to 3/16, which is, this is a 3/16 bit, and I can just barely get that onto the bridge there. And then I'll just have some dark wood. I'll cut a 3/16 plug, which I do have a 3/16 plug cutter, and that will just patch that, and that will be that. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I don't think the brass pins are going to work, so we're just going to go with the old traditional style bridge doctor. All right, here we go. Okay, I verified that will actually go in underneath there. That's no problem. And the other consideration, if you've seen my other videos working on ovations that have the plastic, type body, in the ovation I had to make a heel block. On this particular guitar, there is a mahogany or whatever type of wood heel block back here for the shaft to run into. So we're good there. I was kind of concerned that this was just a thin wall plastic here, but no, it actually does have a heel block. So this is going to work out, I think. Let's keep going. I pre-drilled a hole with a very tiny 16th bit, so I have a place for my spike. This is a Forstner bit, and I'm going to start out by reversing, and then I'm going to go forward, bit of chipping, but nothing that I can't deal with. This always happens a little bit, so it's such fragile work, and I can't use this on my drill press. I don't have a hand drill anymore. As far as the type you crank, if I can just get some better light here, I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and then I'll drill a little bit deeper because I have to make so that the screw can go in a ways and still have a little wood plug on top. It doesn't have to be thick, but stand by. Just clearing out some of that chatter in there so that I can get back in there. And I need just a little bit deeper. Switching out drill bits to a regular, as it has a tapered tip that's more consistent with the taper on the bottom side of the screw. And we'll start by again reversing. And that will do. So now the next step is I have to drill the hole for the threaded portion. That has to go all the way through and into the top of this. Let's see if we can get to focus. Goes through the bridge down into that part. This is up underneath in front of the saddle, and so when this will be hooked underneath the bridge onto the bridge pad, and through here that wooden shaft goes all the way back to the tail block. And so as I tighten from this end, it moves this whole unit like that, which will flatten the top back down. And that's the goal of this particular unit. So I'm going to now drill that hole for the threaded portion down through there. So I'm going to get my caliper, because I've long since forgotten I guess for those in millimeters. All right, to the drill bits. Reverse. All right, now I held a block underneath there so that I wouldn't have blowout on the back side of this. That looks pretty clean. Okay, with things screwed in place, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and make sure the pins are seated. I found out that round shaft, the plastic shaft on the bottom part of the unit, it actually overhung a little bit there, and I couldn't get this, so I had to take this out, and I just used a file to clean off a little bit of the side of that plastic tube so that the pin goes in there and seats properly. And trimming the dowel as per the instructions. I'm going to try to get this end as square as I can. And already noticeably I can see that we've taken a lot of that bow out. Now the customer plays a style of music where they will double up the strings instead of having drone strings, and they'll actually just put two whole sets of 6-string. They'll take two 6-string sets and put them on here, and the only thing that they do is they leave off one of the low E strings, and that's why these bridge doctors are almost imperative for this type of a setup. And every one of their guitars that they've bought, they have brought by to have me put the bridge doctor in for that purpose. I think this one's going to be successful, but I'm going to let it go overnight, see how things are holding. I can actually feel where it's definitely flattened out quite a bit. Let's see if we can't get a look inside. Alright, so there's the unit stabbing down into the bridge plate right in front of the pickup. And I don't think we're going to be able to achieve the angle needed. Maybe. Alright, there we go. So back there you see how that shaft runs through the bottom of that unit and stabs into the back there where the tail block is. I'm going to shift that over and try to align that where the output jack is a little bit better tomorrow. But for now I'm just going to leave things as they are overnight, and I'll do the cleanup work tomorrow. I'm very happy with how the top has flattened out nicely. I did put it back in the case a couple dampets. This guitar was rather dry. They had a sunken area through here, which is kind of now popped back out. Also leveling this bridge probably helped bulge this up, because this was all sunken really bad right through here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut the plug and fill that space. It is nicely centered. I might see if I have a simulated mother of pearl dot that I can just throw in there. That might simplify things. But if not, then I'll cut a plug. Alright, let's check our fit here. Yeah, that's going to be great. And before I get some glue in here, putting a little beeswax down into that screw. That way if this ever has to come out, I could basically punch and split and drill out the dot and be able to get to the screw and be able to clean that out relatively easy to back the screw out. Alright, so used a little fish glue, got that in place before that glue dries. Get a little of that dust. So while the glue dries, I think I'm going to set about cleaning up these frets. They're not as bad as I originally thought, but there is some munch going on, and they're all pretty scratchy. I'll give these a quick polish and try to take out some of the dents and clean up the fretboard, and I'll check them all. Looks like some of them might be a little bit pulled out, and I'll see if that needs to be tapped back in. And yeah, I get some good oil on the fingerboard here. Music Nomad. Okay, frets are all polished. I'm going to go back to the bridge and clean up there. But just for now, let's see what happens. We put a little oil on it. Where did it go? There's two schools of thought. Make it look intentional or make it disappear. Sometimes I can do one, sometimes I have to do the other. Let's see how we did. I could live with that. Okay, new strings are on. Action is set as good as it's going to be able to get on this particular guitar. Unfortunately, with everything as it is, the bridge doctor is working great. The top is super flat. It did not get us anything as far as it did not lower the action. We are at 8/64 on both bass and treble, which I consider a bit high. This instrument is actually showing signs that it needs a neck reset, and that's something that I have not been tasked to do, so I'm going to leave that to others. I did some research on this, the ST212, and there were only about 100 of these made. And interesting enough, whereas I thought this was some kind of a fiberglass bowl, this actually is some kind of a textile that is made of wood products or whatever. And so, yeah, it's kind of a unique design. It's not like Ovation. It's not a plastic. That's kind of cool. I think the value back, what I read, it was just a Reverb listing back in 1991. I think these things were in the catalog for $1,200. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the actual value of these is today, but it is somewhat rare that there wasn't a lot of these made. So I'm glad we didn't do too much of an alteration on this, at least nothing that's not reversible. And I think actually a bridge doctor is an improvement, and I don't think that should devalue the instrument much, if any. So I'm going to leave you here at this point. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next repair video.